you've said yourself that apparently is the only show. Is that really the case? Is that it? That's the only policy lever that's currently being pulled?
It's difficult to point to anything else with any great.
Because certainly for railways, the idea of mode shift, the idea of capacity growth as a tool for mode shift, or even capacity growth at all, is not being certainly not legislatively mandated. You look to the Great British Railways Bill, they are resisting the idea of setting a target for passenger growth, which for me is the bare minimum to drive modal shift, because that's not tied to mode. It doesn't have to be tied to mode share. As with the freight one, it would probably be a relative percentage rather than related to mode share. But even that, government is not willing to do. So you're saying there is nothing else. It really is just that one lever they're relying on.
When you look down the list, I mean, there's loads of stuff they're doing in maritime, sustainable aviation fuel. Like I'm focusing on surface transport. Yeah. I think the department's got a range of policies, but it hasn't got the belief, or doesn't have the funding, or a combination of funding and belief to say we actually think that we can do some of this through changing how people travel. It doesn't want to upset. I don't know whether it's politically difficult, but I mean, the point I make in the report is, look, these trends are happening anyway. This is hurting us with productivity if we carry on with the levels of traffic growth that we're planning for. It's making us more vulnerable to energy price shocks. Yeah. Why? And people per head of population have been traveling less and less over the last 25 years. So can't we think about a transport policy that lines up with the way social change is going, and say, look, this isn't a culture war. This is actually what people are doing. So we're going to try and support what they're doing in a different way. That's missing. And then out of that, you then end up missing loads of opportunities. So if you think about rail, well, okay, Better Connected had some nice things about bike rail connectivity. That's where some of the big ticket mileage savings are. And the same with Rail Car Club. I had a good chat with Richard Dilks at Como UK about this. We need to reduce the number of fossil fuel miles that are driven. That's what we're kind of most focused on. Well, okay, some of those are the really long journeys. You can't always do all of that by public transport, but what about more of a mixed economy? Can we get more of the bike rail commute sorted out? There's still loads and loads of really rubbish bike rail interchange, the routes to the stations, the parking at some of the stations. It's not safe for people to leave their bikes, or they don't feel it is. So those are missed opportunities.